We are living in the cusp of a new era of both creativity and monotony. What once took days or years now takes seconds or minutes, and everyone has access. Now today, every major popular film, food, game, and song has been hyper-manufactured, tested, and commercialized to squeeze out every penny. And socially, the concept of success or quality are based not on the message of an art piece, but how commercially viable it is. And if the creative soul of a society echoes through time, ours will likely echo brand deals, thirst traps, and rage bait. But let's be honest, as AI exacerbates the superficiality of every creative medium, there will be a cultural backlash. And while I have often cheered for the dismantling of the norm, it's always a double-edged sword. For instance, the dismantling of cable in favor of the net brought with it independent creators. On the other hand, the independent creator economy also brought with it false ideals of success, insidious marketing, and political shills spouting disinformation. And just like YouTube and the web, AI has the potential to be even more impactful. But instead of taking 30 years to set in like the web, it will take 10, and we are in year 3. So, as a professional designer, creative artist, or whatever, how do we plan a future that is radically being redefined month by month? And more importantly, in a world in which craft is seemingly a prompt away, how will we survive? And that's the big question, right? In the age of AI-driven deliverables, is creativity still viable? More specifically, is craft still valuable? Let's pause on that word for a second. Craft. What does it mean? Is it about craftsmanship or the marriage of skill and taste? Honestly, I don't know. If you do, let me know down in the comments. But fundamentally, that's why I loathe the term. It's vague, self-important, and abstract by design. But before you rage close this video, just hear me out. How many times has a client asked you to make something pop or sizzle? It's insanely maddening, right? But why? Well, maybe it's because the concept of pop is vague, abstract, and rests on vibes, I suppose. Now swap pop or sizzle with craft, and what's the difference? Well, one's a vague word used by people to describe an emotion, and the other is a gatekeeping term used by creatives to flex. The word craft is often used to create the illusion of prestige. If you've got it, you don't need to explain it, and if you don't, you're told to develop it or buy it. And truthfully, it doesn't mean much anymore. And maybe it never did. And now that AI can generate crafty aesthetics for free, that barrier is gone. And honestly, I think that's a good thing, because if craft actually meant the mastery of systems, storytelling, decision-making, and composition, that would be a different story. That kind of craft, and AI really can't touch it, it can only amplify it. But that kind of depth is really hard to teach. It doesn't fit well on mood boards or in dribble shots or even on LinkedIn. So most people default to vibes, style, polish, and emotion, and those are really, really cheap because they always kind of work. And if you only rely on them in the age of AI, you're screwed. Let me give you an analogy. Making a high fidelity deliverable is like being a really good singer. Yes, it's impressive, but there are like 20 of them in every high school in the United States. Talent and taste everywhere, easily found, commodified. What's rare is someone who can do all of that work, tell a compelling story, and sell the idea with clarity and conviction. And that's what will always matter. But right now, the word craft is tied to ankle-deep creativity, and because it's so shallow, AI will automate it away. And honestly, as a community, we need to embrace that mediocrity is now the floor and recognize that the old notion of craft doesn't hold up. And maybe that's why people are freaking the fuck out right now, because perceived taste and tooling doesn't separate them from the masses anymore. Now, any CEO with a Steve Jobs biography on their desk will instruct AI to make their product less is more and call it a day. Can they achieve their vision with this? Maybe, possibly, I'm doubtful. However, what I do know is that their products won't be able to scale well for production or have any creative depth to it. But let's just be honest here, most content from the past 30 years has been just as artificial as AI anyways. The difference? Well, instead of needing 80 people to focus group their way to a top 40 hit song, now it's just one incel with ChatGPT in the basement. We've just been convinced to mistake capital, clever marketing, and superficial visuals for genuine creativity. But in the new age of AI, that veil has been removed. However, some creators will lose their jobs pumping out that kind of content. And yes, that really sucks. But many more creatives will be able to seize that opportunity and break away from the mundane, superficial baseline barrier that has been created with AI, and it will help them differentiate their work. I mean, just think about photography. 30 years ago, you needed expensive gear or a professional to take a decent photo. Now, everyone just has a camera in their pocket. Does that make everyone an amazing photographer? Of course not. Great photography still takes an eye for light, timing, composition, and emotion. And if Instagram has taught us anything, it's that access to tools doesn't equal creative mastery. AI will just multiply that by a million, flooding the world with accessible and mundane content that is good enough. But that just makes actual taste analysis and critical thinking more valuable. The catch, well, the shift to be better demands a lot of effort, evolving skill sets, and brutal self-awareness. And I'm going to be honest, most designers I know, they're not up for that. They clock in, they clock out, and that's the real threat. Not AI, but complacency. And the bar is rising really fast. Survival won't come from mastering a single skill anymore. It will require creatives to build and master multiple over a lifetime. For example, let's take product design, my field. No longer will we be relying on other designers to build user flows in Figma. In 5 years, I don't even know if that skill will exist anymore. However, we will need to supplement that, if it does exist, with advanced design systems, UI, data analysis, motion, 3D, AI tooling. And instead of a team of 30 designers to make one product, you only need 3 to 5. So where do the other 25 go? Well, that's a good and scary question. And if you want to be one of those 5, you need to be a 21st century Renaissance creative. Not someone who dabbles, but someone who's great at many things and a master of 2 or 3. And ironically, I do think that AI will be able to shorten that path to mastery, but it also raises the bar on what counts as craft. Yes, we'll see a flood of cheap AI slop on the web. But as the medium evolves and expectations rise, craftsmanship, real composition will stand out. And that means authenticity will be rare and valuable. In a sea of soulless content, people will crave smaller and tighter creative communities, and we're already starting to see this happen, and it's only going to grow. And I'll save my deeper thoughts on creative autonomy for another day, but if there's one thing I want you to take away from this video, if not almost all my videos, is that self-education is your key to survival. From now on until you retire, probably into your 70s, you need to keep learning new tools, new mediums, new disciplines, and no one's coming to save you. And so that brings me to how I'm trying to save myself from this AI hellscape. Well, I've been kind of getting into multiple different things because I've been fundamentally bored with product design for some time. So I've been branching out into 3D, XR, AI, audio design, video, game development, photography, whatever. And I'm trying to learn as many creative skills as I can and sew them into my work. Have I made AI slop? Absolutely, because I need to understand that medium or even what that is. But I honestly do think it's paying off. And that doesn't mean it's easy. I mean, take 3D, it's incredibly technical and finicky, and I spent thousands of hours on it and I still suck. But I enjoy it. It helps me think about craft more critically. It helps me be more valuable. And even when I feel myself overwhelmed by everything that I'm trying to learn, it still fuels me. But fundamentally, I'm trying to practice what I preach, rebuild my skill set, and become a new kind of designer. One who codes, crafts, renders, and still gives a shit about people and design. And that's my job now, and I really do love it. So, will craft die? Well, even if I wanted to kill it, I don't think I could because it's always evolving. And as designers, our job now is to be more explicit about what we mean when we talk about design and not gatekeep others from the conversation. And if we want to survive this AI shitstorm, we can't hide behind abstraction. We need to share our work and grow together. Now, just because I think this way doesn't mean everyone else should. I'm obviously biased and I have a huge ego, but that ego has helped me survive 12, 13 years in one of the toughest cities and industries. And sure, it has nearly gotten me fired at least 4 or 5 times by middle managers because I just challenge them on a daily basis and they hate me for it. But it's kept me sharp. So, how do you feel about my take on crafting mediocrity? Are you an AI hater, lover, or somewhere in between? Are you scared or excited about your creative future? Leave me a comment down below. And if you like this kind of video, let me know as well. I'll try to make more. Yes, check out the Discord. Okay, take care, plus minus. Thanks for listening. Peace.